Paul stared at the message, his blood turning to ice. Banned. The single word echoed through his mind, a death knell for his digital life. Fortschilde, the online haven he considered a second home, had cast him out. A false accusation of cheating orchestrated by the server's tyrannical administrator Vincent had sealed his fate. He knew the truth. Vincent, envious of Paul's growing influence and skill, had fabricated the evidence. A bitter taste filled Paul's mouth. This wasn't just a ban, it was a public humiliation, a stain on his digital reputation. He had spent years building his credibility, earning the respect of the Fortschilde community. Now, it was all ripped away. But Paul refused to accept defeat. He wouldn't let Vincent get away with this injustice. A fire ignited within him, a burning desire for retribution. This wasn't just about regaining access to a server, it was about reclaiming his honor. He would expose Vincent for the fraud he was, and bring down his reign of digital tyranny. This was war. Paul retreated into the digital shadows, his mind racing. He knew taking down Vincent wouldn't be easy. Fortschilde was heavily fortified, protected by layers of security and patrolled by Vincent's loyal followers. Paul needed allies, skilled hackers who understood his thirst for justice. He started by reaching out to old contacts, whispers in the dark corners of the internet. Each conversation was a risk, a potential leak that could alert Vincent to his plans. But Paul was meticulous, covering his tracks, ensuring his communications remained encrypted and untraceable. One by one, he presented his case. The unfair banishment, the manipulation, the corruption that festered within Fortschilde. He appealed to their sense of justice, their disdain for those who abused their power. He offered them a chance to strike back, to dismantle Vincent's empire, and build a new world within Fortschilde, one founded on fairness and respect. His words resonated. A shared sense of anger, a thirst for revenge, bound them together. They were hackers, digital warriors, united against a common enemy. This was more than just a team. It was a brotherhood forged in the fires of their shared purpose. They would become a force to be reckoned with, a digital storm that would wash away Vincent's tyranny. Among those who answered Paul's call was a figure shrouded in mystery known only as Theodore Gabor. A digital phantom, Gabor's legend preceded him. He was whispered to be a coding savant, a master of exploiting vulnerabilities that others couldn't even perceive. Gabor was a valuable ally, bringing with him not only his formidable skills but also a network of trusted associates, each a specialist in their own right. There was Lena, the information broker, her fingers dancing across the keyboard, extracting secrets from the deepest recesses of the internet. Mark, the social engineer, could charm his way into any system, his words laced with digital honey. And then there was Kai, the hardware whiz, able to build and modify any device, turning electronics into weapons of the digital age. Gabor, with his calm demeanor and sharp intellect, became Paul's confidant, his strategist. He listened intently as Paul poured out his story, his anger, and his determination. When Paul finished, Gabor simply nodded, a knowing glint in his eyes. "Vincent made a grave mistake underestimating you, Paul," he said, his voice a low rumble. "He has awakened a sleeping dragon, and now we will burn his empire to the ground." Their first move was reconnaissance. They needed to understand the fortress they were about to lay siege to. Lena, the information broker, was their scout, her digital tendrils reaching into the server's underbelly. She mapped out Fortschilde's architecture, identifying its weak points, its vulnerabilities. Each firewall, each line of code, each security protocol was scrutinized, analyzed, and exploited. Mark, the social engineer, began his work, crafting phishing campaigns, his digital traps disguised as innocent messages. He preyed on the human element, exploiting curiosity and naivety to gain access to user accounts, gathering credentials, and planting backdoors. Each successful breach was a small victory, a step closer to their ultimate goal. Kai, the hardware guru, assembled a small arsenal of custom-built devices, each designed for a specific purpose. He modified network cards, crafted signal jammers, and built miniature Faraday cages, ensuring their operations remained undetected by Vincent's watchful eyes. Section 5, Guardians of Fortschilde, the Wall of Names. But Fortschilde wasn't just a collection of code and servers, it was a community, and within that community, Vincent had cultivated a loyal following. These were his lieutenants, his digital guard dogs, fiercely protective of their leader and their digital domain. Paul knew that to reach Vincent, he would have to go through them. There was Tylo der Forsch, Vincent's second-in-command, a skilled coder in his own right, known for his ruthless efficiency and unwavering loyalty. Then there was Albert, the trapmaker, a master of deception, his code riddled with pitfalls and dead ends, designed to ensnare and neutralize any intruders. And finally there was Vincent Pittenschenk, the enigma, his skills whispered in hushed tones, his motives shrouded in secrecy. Each one presented a unique challenge, a formidable obstacle standing between Paul and his revenge. But Paul was undeterred. He had tasted injustice and it fueled his resolve. He would face each opponent, overcome each challenge, and dismantle Vincent's defenses, brick by digital brick. Section 6, Tylo der Forsch, the first line of defense. Tylo Force was their first major obstacle. He was the gatekeeper, the first line of defense, his code woven into the very fabric of Fortschgilde. He patrolled the server with unwavering vigilance, a digital sentinel guarding against any intrusion. Gabor devised a plan. They would use Tylo Force's rigid adherence to protocol against him. Mark crafted a series of decoy attacks, distractions designed to draw Tylo Force's attention, leading him on a digital wild goose chase. While Tylo Force was distracted, Paul and Gabor would exploit the opening, a brief window of opportunity to slip past his defenses. The plan was risky, relying on precise timing and Tylo Force's predictability. One wrong move, one miscalculation, and they would be detected, their entire operation jeopardized. But they had no other choice. The clock was ticking. As Mark launched his diversionary attacks, Tylo Force's digital signature flashed across their screens, moving from one decoy to the next, his attention fully occupied. This was their chance. Paul and Gabor, working in perfect synchronization, their fingers a blur across their keyboards, exploited the temporary vulnerability, their code slipping through the cracks in Tylo Force's defenses. Section 7. Albert and the Honeypot Trap. They had bypassed Tylo Force, but their celebration was short-lived. Albert, the trapmaker, awaited them deeper within the server. He was a master of deception, his code a labyrinth of false leads and dead ends, designed to lure intruders into a false sense of security before ensnaring them. Albert had anticipated their every move, predicting their tactics and laying traps in their path. They stumbled upon his first line of defense, a honeypot, a seemingly valuable piece of data designed to lure them in. But Gabor, ever vigilant, recognized the telltale signs of Albert's handiwork. "Don't touch it," Gabor warned, his voice tense. "It's a trap." They carefully backed away, their hearts pounding in their chests. They'd avoided the first trap, but they knew Albert would have more waiting for them. They were walking on a digital minefield, each step fraught with danger. Section 8. Vincent Pittenschenk, a worthy adversary. Deeper they ventured into the heart of Fortschgilde, their every move shadowed by a presence they couldn't quite place. It was Vincent Pittenschenk, the enigma, his code a whisper in the wind, his motives a mystery. He was a formidable opponent, his skills surpassing even those of Tylo Force and Albert. Pittenschenk was a master of misdirection, his code constantly shifting, adapting, morphing into something new, something unexpected. He was a digital chameleon, blending seamlessly into the background, making it nearly impossible to anticipate his next move. He was a constant threat, a sword hanging over their heads, ready to strike when they least expected it. They engaged in a cat-and-mouse game, their code clashing in the digital ether. Each encounter was a lesson in humility, a reminder that they were facing an adversary unlike any they had encountered before. Section 9. The Final Showdown, Paul versus Vincent. Finally, they reached the inner sanctum, the digital fortress where Vincent resided. He was waiting for them, his face illuminated by the glow of his monitor, a smug smile playing on his lips. "You've come far," Vincent said, his voice dripping with arrogance. "But it all ends here." A tense silence filled the air as Paul and Vincent locked eyes, their animosity palpable. This was it, the culmination of weeks of planning, of countless hours spent hunched over their keyboards. This was the moment of truth. The battle commenced, a flurry of keystrokes, a digital dance of code and countercode. Lines of text scrolled across their screens at a dizzying pace, each one a weapon, a shield, a tactical maneuver. The digital world around them melted away as they focused on their opponent, their minds locked in a battle of wits and skill. Vincent, despite his arrogance, was a formidable opponent. He fought with the desperation of a cornered animal, his code laced with malice and cunning, but Paul refused to back down. He had come too far, sacrificed too much to let Vincent escape justice. The battle raged on, a digital storm of epic proportions. But as the hours turned into a blur, it became clear that neither side could gain a decisive advantage. They were evenly matched, their skills and determination canceling each other out. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it was over. The code froze, the screens went dark. Silence. Paul and Vincent stared at their monitors, their faces illuminated by the faint glow of the standby lights. Had he won? Had he finally vanquished his nemesis? Or had Vincent outsmarted him, played him for a fool? The ending remained ambiguous, the outcome uncertain. Paul had faced his demons, challenged a corrupt system, and fought for what he believed in. But at what cost? And had it been worth it? The answers, like the digital world they inhabited, remained elusive, shrouded in uncertainty. Paul could only hope that his actions had made a difference, that he had planted the seeds of change within Fortschgilde. Only time would tell.